In today's class, I will be talking briefly about factors which influences attitude formation. So first of all, as you all know, that an attitude is a set of emotions, beliefs and behavior towards a particular object, person or event. So attitude can be positive or negative. Okay, usually what happens is that we confused attitude with the term ego, like she has an attitude, but an attitude can be either positive or negative. So having an attitude is not a bad thing. Okay, so do not confuse attitude with ego. So having an attitude can be positive or can be negative. Okay, so attitude are often result of the experience of our upbringing, the way we have been brought up, the exposure that we have gotten, and definitely our attitude towards objects, person, things or event influences our behavior. Okay, so in the next slide we will be talking about factors which influence our attitude formation. So, the first one is your family and school environment. So, in early years, uh, parents and other family members play a significant role in shaping attitude formation. So, a child in his or her early years uh, are surrounded by their parents, their close family members, and they do not have exposure of the social world. Only his or her parents and other family members, and also people in his or her neighborhood. So what happens at this stage of life, attitude is formed and influenced by uh, parents and other family members, since they usually come in contact only with their family members in early years of life. But later on, when children start going to school, school environment becomes really important. Okay, like the peer group as in those people who are of the same age as you. So your peer group, then of course the school environment, how are your teachers, and all these things influence your attitude formation. So now you all are in faculty high secondary school. Many of you have come from different schools and different background, and I'm sure that must have affected your attitude formation. So if you have come from some convent school, probably your attitude will be different from someone else who has probably come from a different background, or someone who has come from a bigger city, a bigger school. So attitude formation depends on your school environment also. Okay, so your peer groups, your teachers, everything has to play a very important role. So learning of attitude within the family and school usually takes place by association, through rewards and punishments, and through modeling. So rewards is like when you are praised for your good work. Suppose in our school only, like I think 1 or 2 years ago, during World Environment Day, many trees were planted, or all these initiatives were taken. So at that point of time, you were praised, you were appreciated to do so. So at that point of time, you will have a positive attitude towards World Environment Day, towards planting trees. For that particular kind of behaviors, you all were praised, as in you all were rewarded. Okay, so you will have a positive attitude towards environment. Okay, so and punishment. So suppose you do something uh, which is like breaking the rules, so you are punished for the same act, then you won't be doing it again and again. Okay, so that way you will form an attitude. Okay, I'm not supposed to do this, so you will form a negative attitude towards it, and I'm supposed to do it. Okay, I will think about the environment. I will not throw papers in the environment, because in our school we have been taught that we are supposed to plant trees, and we have been praised for our behaviors. So that way you will form a positive attitude. Okay, so this is how school and family plays an important role in your attitude formation. So now let's talk about reference group. So reference groups indicate to an individual the norms regarding acceptable behavior and ways of thinking. So we live in a society. Okay, so there are always reference group who will tell you that okay, this behavior is acceptable and this behavior is not. So when you go to a restaurant, there are particular sets of behaviors that you have to follow. So who is telling you to do all of that? There is a group of people, reference group, that you see, that you follow. Okay, so we do not do anything that we want in public, right? We see what others are doing, or there's a particular set of rules, acceptable behaviors, and we display those particular behaviors in the public. Okay, so thus they reflect learning of attitude through group or cultural norms. Okay, so cultural norms is something which is right in your culture. Okay, and attitude towards various topics such as political, religious and social groups, occupations, national and other issues are often developed through reference groups. Okay, so these are other domains in your life where you develop attitude uh, by referring to the reference group. So their influence is noticeable, especially during the beginning of adolescence, at which time it is important for the individual to feel that he or she belongs to a group. Therefore, the role of or reference group in attitude formation may also be a case of learning through reward and punishment. Okay, so during your early adolescence, you may not be able to have your own personal attitude. Okay, so you will always keep on referring to the reference group. So what others are doing, so I have to follow what they are doing. So your attitude formation is really affected by what other people are telling you, teaching you. Okay, and also it may be a cause of learning through reward and punishment. So I already told you, like, if you are accepted, praised for your act, that is, you are being rewarded. And if you are being rejected, if you are being told that okay, this behavior is not acceptable, we won't accept this particular behavior of yours, that is punishment. So a reward can form a positive attitude formation in you, and a punishment can form a negative attitude formation in you. Okay, so now moving to the third point, we will be talking about the third point in the next slide, that is your personal experiences. So personal experiences, Attitudes are also formed through direct personal experiences. So till now we have talked about how family influences, how school environment influences, how reference group have an impact on your attitude formation. So now we will be talking about how direct personal experiences can affect attitude formation in you. Okay, so let us start with an example. Okay, so a driver in the army went through a personal experience that transformed his life. On one mission he narrowly escaped death, although all his companions got killed. Wondering about the purposes of his own life, he gave up his job in the army, returned to his native village in Maharashtra, and worked actively as a community leader. Through a purely personal experience, this individual evolved a strong positive attitude towards community upliftment. His efforts completely changed the face of his village. So in this case, this particular person who is a driver in the army, he has a personal experience which transformed his life. He was exposed in the battlefield where all his fellow soldiers were killed, and he narrowly escaped death. So he had a personal experience of being narrowly escaping from death. So probably at that point of time he thought that, oh, life is so precious, everyone else has lost lives, but I somehow escaped. So I will do something for the upliftment of my people, the people who are in my village. So that way, through his personal experience, he has formed an attitude that he has to help people in his village. He has to work towards his own people, because life is precious, and one can lose his or her life in just a fraction of seconds. So he realized the importance of life, and then he decided that he will work for the upliftment of his own people. So this happened through personal experience. I'm sure you also try to recall incidences in your life where through personal experience, okay, I'm sure that you are in class 12, you definitely have had some personal experiences, and after that you formed a negative attitude or a positive attitude towards that particular event, object, or people. Like, I am not going to do that again anymore, or I will keep on doing it again and again. So please recall some incident like that and think about it. Okay, now coming to media related influences. So now recent times you have all technical advances, there is internet, everything is just one click away. So it has become a very powerful source which leads to attitude formation. Okay, so and of course school textbooks also influence attitude formation. So these sources first strengthen the cognitive and affective components of attitudes, and subsequently may also affect the behavioral component. Okay, so the media can exert both good and bad influences on attitude. On one hand, the media and internet make people better informed than other modes of communication. On the other hand, there may be no check on the nature of information being gathered, and therefore no control over the attitude that are being formed or direction of change in the existing attitude. The media can be used to create consumerist attitude where none existed, and can also be harnessed to create positive attitude to facilitate social harmony. So see, no matter how much we agree or not, media really influences us. Okay, whether we are watching some series or news channels or advertisements. Okay, and also I would like to talk about social media here. So whether it's your mass media or social media, So everything has a great impact on your attitude formation. Okay, so even the kind of series that you are watching will affect your attitude formation. Okay, like, okay, this has been shown in the series, so you will start picking up the attitude of the characters that people are playing in the series. That happens. Okay, if you notice, you may not notice that, but just think about some series that you have watched. Okay, recent series that you have watched, and how and did it actually impact your attitudes? Did I mean, think about it. Okay, and then of course news channels. Okay, so now news channels are showing the same kinds of news over and over again, and I have seen that a lot of people have formed an attitude, okay, because of what has been shown in news channels. Like, for example, about Bollywood, people would go crazy for Bollywood movies before, or Bollywood stars, but now there's a trend that everyone is talking about nepotism. That star kids are not supposed to be given, such platforms, and uh, we should boycott them. But was it there before? Before this period, Bollywood stars were like worshipped. Okay, a new star kid is coming, so everyone will start following. But now, because of media influences, everyone is like against the Bollywood stars. And if media was not present, I think that negative attitude towards Bollywood stars wouldn't be present. Okay, so, and also advertisements. So you see something, so they are advertising some brand, and and it sounds really promising, the features and everything, you like it, so you will feel like buying it. Okay, so that's how media influences us. And also social media. Okay, everything goes viral in social media nowadays. Okay, whether it's your Instagram, Facebook, or all these platforms, so everything goes viral. So you see that everyone is like following a particular trend, and you also do that. Okay, there are so many challenges, this challenge, that challenge, and everyone is doing that. So that way also you form attitude towards a particular thing, object, people, event, etc. Okay, so that is these were your factors that influence attitude formation. So please go through it in your book also. So that's all for today's class. We will start with something new tomorrow. Thank you.